All right, welcome everyone to the Visionary Leadership Call for Friday, July 25th, 2025. Today we are talking about money and how it relates to conscious organizations. And, we framed this in the context of teal organizations, which is something we've been talking about in the Visionary Leadership Calls in the series so far, teal organization. So a teal organization it's just a kind of a shorthand for a new paradigm organization, a new paradigm model for how to collaborate with other people to create projects, to create businesses in the world. And so, the world as a whole is going through this transition from outdated models that no longer serve. And we're giving birth collectively to new, updated models that now meet the needs of the present era and also the future generations that are coming. And so we're talking about this because as mystics, we have the opportunity to be thought leaders in how to apply mystic wisdom to everyday life. As fun as it is, as engaging as it is to think about mystic ideas and kind of chase that epiphany of one revelation after another, I feel that the true value in any spiritual practice is how it upgrades and enhances our quality of life. Okay, so I have come that we may have life and have it more abundantly, right? So the person saying that, the being saying that is your true self. You have come, you have arrived that you might have life and have it more abundantly. So mystic wisdom is exploring that relationship with the real you, right? The real inner us, the real I am that is present in each and every being, exploring that relationship, and in so doing, inviting it to come more and more, that we might have more life and have it more abundantly. And that's really the reason why we do any of this. Today's call is a deep dive into the energetics of money in conscious business. And specifically, we're exploring this question: where does money actually belong in your equation of your mission or organization? Where does money actually belong in the equation of your mission or organization? Now, this kind of assumes that you have a mission or an organization, but you can also just think about this as how money applies to you personally. Like where is it? Where does it belong in the equation of your life, in the equation of what you're doing? Okay, if you've ever felt stuck between honoring your soul and needing to make it work financially, this call is for you. In traditional legacy-style old paradigm business, money is placed after the equal sign. And we're going to talk about the equations today. But money being placed after the equal sign, that's a way of saying that money is viewed as the output, the reward, the proof of value, the thing that you hustle to justify, to earn. But in the emerging wave of what some people call teal organizations, which is a new paradigm model of how people collaborate and move the world forward, in that emerging wave, money moves. It shifts its relationship. We shift our relationship to money. Money shifts from being an end result to being a field activator. And just to anchor this conversation, let's remember that teal-style organizations, teal, T-E-A-L, teal-style organizations are living, self-organizing systems. They do not operate top-down. Teal organizations are encoded with purpose. They lead with trust, transparency, and inner alignment. They don't use money to chase growth. Okay, that's the old relationship with money, is using money to chase growth. The new relationship with money is using it to stabilize resonance, to stabilize resonance. Okay, so this is where I'm going to draw out here on the screen. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. So the old equation, we're talking about money. Okay, so the old equation. Old equation looked like something like this. Work plus offer plus marketing equals money. I'm not even on social media that much, but the few times that I am on social media, I see ads all the time. Probably because, with the cookies, they know that I'm an entrepreneur and that I run a business. And they know that I'm, a business-minded person. So constantly I get ads of people selling this as a model. Come learn from me. I'll teach you how to put your work plus your offer plus your marketing and make boatloads of money. Okay. But in truth, that's actually the old paradigm. And there's a lot of people parroting the old paradigm, but we're here to introduce a different perspective. Okay. So in the old equation, money is the end result. It sits over here on the right side of the equal sign. Money is what validates the grind of the work, the offer, the marketing. Money is the prize that you win if you do it right. Okay, quote unquote, do it right. Now, the morphic field in this equation is pressure based. It's pressure based, right? This has to be exactly right. The work that I do has to be exactly right. And then I have to have the right offer. And then I got to find the right people that want to buy it. And then if I do everything just right, just maybe, I'll make some money. There's competition. It's transactional. You can see that, right? The transactional aspect of this. It's work plus offer plus marketing equals money. It assumes that the universe is inert and money only flows when you push hard enough. Okay? You push hard enough, then money flows. That's the model that is assumed by this old equation. Now, here's a different structure. This is one that reflects the teal model. Regenerative systems. Okay, so regenerative systems thinking, resonance-based creation. Here's the new equation. Money plus calling plus resonant offering equals impact plus fulfillment plus coherence. Now let's define these two core elements. Okay, let's talk about calling. Calling is not just passion. It's not just a passion. When we talk calling, when we use the term calling, we're talking about a soul level signal. Soul level signal that keeps whispering, meaning it's steady. Right? It's probably something that's been whispering to you for a long time. Calling isn't usually something you just wake up one day and it hits you like a lightning bolt. Usually it's something that whispers to you over a long time. And it says, this is why you're here. This voice is not always loud, the voice of calling, but it is consistent. It's coded into your design. Your calling aligns you with missions that are bigger than money. Missions bigger than money. And yet, these missions are often funded by money. Okay, so that's here we are in the equation here. Okay, now let's define what a resonant offering is. A resonant offering is the way that calling expresses through form. Okay, so your soul level signal, whatever it is that is your calling, once that takes a form, how is it packaged? What is the structure of it? It's the form. This is not just a product or a service. It's an offering that feels true in your body. Okay, so a resonant offering isn't, I want to be really clear about this because there's some subtleties here and there's some layers, and it's important that we land this. When you think about your calling, it's really the reason why you're here. And then when you think about, okay, how am I going to bring what I have to contribute to the world? How am I going to bring that forth? What form is it going to take? Okay, so it's not just a product or service, although it could end up being a product or service. But the resonant offering goes beyond that. It actually feels true somatically in your body. Okay, so they say that people can tell when they're encountering an authentic story. They say people buy authentic stories. Okay, so when a creator, someone who's building a personal brand, when they get on a live stream or they get out in front of their audience and they're speaking from their soul, and they're like, hey, this is why I'm doing this. This is what lights me up. This is why this business or this project or this product or service, like this is why this is important. And when they actually mean it and there's resonance and there's a calling behind it, people feel that because it carries a real signal. And real signal is what people respond to. Real signal is what people respond to. Real signal breaks through the noise. Right? So there's a million offers, right? There's hundreds of millions of offers of people trying to sell things in the marketplace that is this world. Okay, so it's like what distinguishes the true soul level offerings with just every other offering, which is just noise? Well, it's the signal underneath it. Okay, so that's why we're classifying this as a resonant offering and not just a generic offer. Okay, so this, we could say this is noise, right? And this is signal. In this new model, money enters the equation before the equal sign. Enters the equation before the equal sign. It's not placed over here as a reward. It's placed at the beginning as a field stabilizer, a trust token. And perhaps the most important words we could use for this: frequency match. A frequency match. Okay, so if people buy authentic stories, then it makes sense how money placed on this side of the equation, along with a soul level signal and a resonant offering, it makes sense how that soul level signal, resonant offering would be an easy frequential match for money. Makes all the sense in the world. Okay, so this equation here, the new equation, this lives in an entirely different morphic field altogether. Entirely different than this one. Two different universes. In this morphic field, money responds to coherence and not just effort. Okay, again, I want to be very clear about this because there's some subtleties and it's important that we land this. What does it mean when we say money responds to coherence, not just effort? Okay, so we're fundamentally shifting our relationship with money. Instead of seeing it as something over on the right side of the equation that we have to work for, now we're actually including it in our mission at the beginning. Okay, and we're saying we are accounting for money as a field stabilizer for our impact, fulfillment, and coherence. Okay, we're including it over here. So now money is welcomed in as a field stabilizer of our soul level signal and our resonant offering, which leads to the other side of the equal sign, which is our missions that are bigger than money. Okay, so up here on the old equation, the biggest mission is to get money. Okay, that places money at the top of the pedestal. But the world's relationship with money is changing. I know we've had some conversations about that. Money as a tool is like the whole definition of what money is and how it serves humanity going forward is changing. That conversation is changing. And so we're here, towards the leading edge of this conversation. We're already saying, okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to put money back in the correct place of the equation. Okay, we need to see it as a field stabilizer, as an ally. Okay, money is an ally. Okay, so money now as an ally is responding to my coherence. Okay, so here's the idea. So a teal organization, instead of sitting down in a Monday meeting and saying, okay, let's look at all of our KPIs. Okay, so the KPIs, key performance indicators, that is de-escalated, that is brought down as a level of importance. And what takes its place is, what is the soul of this work asking from us? Okay, so we're letting the soul of the work itself ask us to do things, right? Or to see things, or to be aware of things, or to align with things. Okay, so now we, as vessels of this mission bigger than money, this mission that is expressing through us, now we're aligning with that mission. And do we not believe, okay, so I'm gonna pose the question, do we not believe that the real I am, the one that we truly are, would come here with a mission and be like, oh, but the money part of this mission, sorry, you're on your own when it comes to that. Okay, like that makes no sense, right? Like the money is encoded in the mission. Okay, so the moment that you align with the mission, the money's there, but not when you are living in an outdated morphic field. Okay, you actually have to let the money in. And the way to let the money in is to stop putting it on the wrong side of the equation. Okay, it can't be over here on the right. To align with money as a field stabilizer, it has to live over here on the left as part of these that you're bringing, right? And now you're in coherence with the impact, the fulfillment. And that means when in this new equation, when the right things are placed in the right order, you don't need to convince money to come. You don't need to convince money to come. Instead, you become the field. You become the field that money is responding to. You become the field that money recognizes and can safely land in. Okay, so this is a little bit of grounding. Okay, a little bit of beacon, a little bit of radiation or magnetizing. Okay, so you hear people talk about magnetizing money. Okay, so magnetizing money does not work for our purposes in this old equation. Okay, that's not the field. That's not the correct morphic field for the new paradigm. In the new paradigm, I'm not saying it hasn't worked in the past, but in the new paradigm, money responds to this equation. It responds to you becoming the field that it aligns with and can safely land in. So, this is the field of what we call regenerative exchange. Regenerative exchange. So, it's not an extraction of money as the end result or the end goal. It's a regenerative exchange. Okay, so money comes in as part of the calling, as part of the resonant offering, and the exchange is the impact, the fulfillment, and the coherence. Okay, so this is what we call soul aligned commerce. And this is exactly what teal systems are designed to hold. Okay, so based on my tech setup here, I'm not able to see your chat messages at the moment. So I'm gonna switch screens and see what the chat is saying. And if you have anything to chime in with, now's a great chance to type. I'm gonna take a look now. Yes, Ariel is taking notes in the chat for us. Thank you, Ariel. Calling whispers to you over a long time to say, this is why you're here. Yes, exactly. Calling aligns you with missions that are bigger than money. Yes. Missions are often funded by money. Yes. The resonant offering is the way that calling expresses through form. Exactly. Perfect. Signal is your clear, aligned broadcast, the thoughts, actions, and energy that match your true desires and chosen timeline. Perfectly said. Noise is distortion, doubts, fears, or outside programming that pulls you off your path, dilutes your authorship. I love that. Dilutes your authorship. Boom. That's it. In the new model, money is placed at the beginning as a frequency match and trust token, field stabilizer. And in the new model, money responds to coherence, not just effort. Yes. Yes. Money is an ally responding to your coherence. Yes. Let the soul of your work guide you. Way more important than leading with KPIs. So there's two case studies that are going to really help us land this. So I know we're talking theory right now, but the case studies are really going to make this practical. I think you're going to be able to see very clearly how these equations affect real world businesses through these case studies. Stop putting money on the wrong side of the equation. When the right things are placed in the right order, you don't need to convince money to come. You become the field that money is responding to. Precisely. The field of regenerative exchange. Yes. Okay. Carrie says, if you're sharing something, I can't see it. Okay. Thank you for catching that, everyone. Let's try that again. I was drawing up a storm over here. Hopefully you can see it now. Now I can see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Question from Ariel. Can you speak to the difference between magnetism and this level of coherence you're speaking to? Right. So the coherence is what creates the magnetism. Okay. So this in the new model, money is attracted to soul aligned signal. That's the new model. So we're viewing money as energy. Okay. So money is a medium of exchange. It is basically a liquid form of energy. And when we tap into our soul aligned mission, which is our really becoming very coherent with the reason why we're here, now we're tapping into this soul level energy. And the signal is massive. It's massive. When you tap into that calling, that resonant offering, the energy of the signal, the soul signal, is the energy that creates worlds. Okay, so now you're bringing that energy into the equation, which becomes magnetism for the resources necessary to do whatever it is that you need to do. Okay, so I, in the past, in my younger places along the journey of authorship, in the past, I would have all these ideas, and I would be like, man, if I just had money, I could do all these things. Right? If I just had money. And so I was always putting money like as an obstacle. Like, oh, if I just had money, I would do all these things. And what I realized as I graduated into more wisdom in my authorship journey, what I started to realize was That was never the equation. It was never the, oh, once I have money, then I can do my thing. It's always a, I'm here to do my thing and I'm going to start doing my thing. And as I start doing my thing, I align with the signal that is pushing me to do that thing. And that signal has this powerful energetic amplitude. It's literally a electromagnetic wave. And as I start to let that wave come through me, I magnetize resources to my mission. And what I started realizing was that resources don't always look like cash. Okay, so sometimes resources look like being connected to the right people. Sometimes resources look like coming across the right information. Sometimes resources look like mentors. Sometimes resources look like the right book landing in your lap at the right time. Okay, so when you align with this massive amplitude, it's like this super bright, loud signal that is your soul purpose, your soul mission, a mission that's bigger than money. When you align with that, you start to channel this energy into the 3D plane. And with that, you become a magnet for soul aligned resources. And yes, that includes money. That's not the only thing it includes, but it does include money. So what I found is I've started to move into my authorship resonance. You know, when I'm contemplating things like, I know what my mission is. I know why I'm here on earth, and I know what I'm here to do. When I start contemplating that and I actually start to take steps towards doing it, I'm experiencing this ease and flow of abundance. And some of it is money. Some of it is, I look at them like, man, I need a tool and I got to pay for this tool. I'm a digital creator, right? So I got to pay for my tools, right? So it's like I come across this tool, I'm like, oh, this tool is perfect. And guess what? Boom, the money's there. I'm like, sweet, I've got the money to buy the tool. The money wasn't the point. The tool was the point. The money was the means. Okay, so when you put money in the correct place of the equation where money is a means and not the end, now it's just showing up, it's just flowing like water. It's like I go to my faucet and I turn on the faucet to draw water, and the water's just there. It's on demand. We can look at money the same way. It's currency, right? It flows to where it's needed. When I flip on a light switch, right? The electrons are cued there in the wire, and as soon as I connect the circuit, complete the circuit, now my light turns on. Okay, I had a need for it, and once I flipped the switch, there the electrons were, there the energy was, there the light was. We can look at money as responding in a similar way. When we have a need for it and we're aligned with our soul mission, it arrives. It's like flipping the switch. It's just there. Okay, so, and again, all of this comes down to putting it in its proper place in the equation. Okay, so let's see. Kathy says, this makes total sense. Awesome. Thanks for elaborating. This goes beyond affirmation or faux magnetism. It goes deeper. Right. So, yeah. So I'm glad you used that word affirmation. Yeah. So sometimes people will go into these affirmations like, oh, I'm a magnet for money and, money is attracted to me. And that, that's one way to align with the frequency of money. But as you're saying, right, we're going deeper than that. In this conversation, we're going deeper than that. We're actually looking at what is that soul signal? Like, okay, let's like go meta for a moment, right? Zoom way out. Why would we even imagine a construct like money? Why would we even imagine a construct like money? That I am, that we all are collectively manifesting the society, the civilization we live in. Why would we imagine something like money? We got tired of trading rocks and sticks, Ariel says. Yes. that's one of the things. Yeah, but there's a bigger role that it plays. There's a bigger, so I don't want to spell it out. This is one of those leading questions that invites you to ponder. Like zooming out, it's like, okay, why did I manifest an earthbound life where the civilization runs on money? Or seems to, it doesn't just run on money, but it's, you could say that, right? To reduce friction. Yes, it's oil in the machine. To put a tangible characteristic to value. Yes, I like that. That's a good way to say it too. Would we just imagine our creations and assume the end? Certainly. So money is part of the physics of this reality. And that's one way to look at it. You could put it in its place as part of the physics. And obviously we've got our equation here, right? But it's part of the physics. It's not the goal. It's part of the physics. It's like I'm getting the weirdest metaphor in my brain right now. I'm going to share it with you because usually when these downloads pop in, it lands for someone. Okay, so for whoever needs this metaphor. Okay, so imagine that you want to build a basketball court. You know, basketball court is like this beautiful glossed wood, right? Like the whole basket is like the perfect wood and it's, treated this certain way. But let's say that you forgot about the game of basketball and you just became obsessed with the wood, right? And you're just craving the wood and you're going out and you're chopping down every tree and you're scheming. You're like, how can I get more wood? How can I get more wood? And you're just stacking wood and stacking wood. And you completely forget that the whole reason why you even wanted the wood in the first place was to put down in this beautiful design for the perfect play surface so that you can have an awesome game of basketball with your friends. It's about putting money in its proper place. It's not the object, it's part of the physics. Makes so much sense, Marcio says. Awesome. Okay. Okay, so there's two equations here, and these represent two morphic fields. I know I'm using that term a lot. It's a brave mystic training term. Shweta has been teaching. She's taught multiple classes now on morphic fields. So if it's new to you, maybe give it a quick conversation in ChatGPT, plug it in and say, hey, I'm trying to understand morphic fields. Can you help me understand? That's actually one of my favorite prompts for ChatGPT is, hey, I heard this term, morphic fields. Can you help me understand? Those are the magic words. Help me understand. It puts it into teaching mode. Help me understand. So if you're new to that, try that out. It'll help you understand what I'm talking about here about two morphic fields. So this morphic field is based on control and compensation. The old equation, control and compensation. And the new morphic field is based on trust. Trust. Ooh, trust. And transmission. Based on trust and transmission. Okay. I'm going to stop screen sharing and we're going to do the case studies. I don't have illustrations for the case studies, so we'll just come back to voice here. Okay, and this will allow me to see your chats. Okay, in the chat I see, Ariel, it reminds me of the balance between the orb of the present and the orb of cosmic trajectory, not getting lost in one versus the other. Great analogy about basketball. Shout out to the brave mystics in here. Yes. Shout out to the brave mystics. Almost to graduation. Coming up on day 99. Okay. All right, let's do the case studies. All right, so there's two case studies here. We're going to bring this to life with two fictional but very real feeling examples. These examples are designed to help you feel the difference between the two paradigms. Okay, let's do case study number one. Okay, case study number one is about a company called ClearPoint Consulting. And they are an old paradigm model consulting firm. ClearPoint Consulting is a boutique firm focused on helping tech startups scale. On paper, they're doing great. They're making millions in revenue. They have happy clients and strong conversion numbers. But inside the organization, things feel off. Every project is a hustle. The team decides what to build based solely on what will sell or what they think will sell. And very little attention, little to no attention is given on what wants to be born. When they sit down for their quarterly planning meeting, the conversation in the room sounds like this. What can we launch next that hits the numbers? What's trending that we can repackage? But in truth, their team is tired. One co-founder just left. Their designer is burned out. They've become addicted to analytics and allergic to slowness. Allergic to slowness. Their equation, let me do the screen share again. Their equation looks like this. ClearPoint's consulting equation looks like this. Skill set plus marketable offer plus marketing engine equals revenue. Again, I see all kinds of creators out there selling business models that look like this. Skill set, take your skill, make a marketable offer, throw it into an engine, get those fat stacks of cash. Okay. And with this model, it's not that the model doesn't work. The money does come, but it always feels earned through depletion. Okay. In this model, money is being extracted. Okay. It's being extracted not just from these things, but from the people who are doing it. People, you could even say, it's like selling the soul, right? The soul is being sacrificed on the altar of bigger revenue. Okay, so this machine does work, but it does not feel alive. Okay, so let's contrast this with the second case study. Okay, so this one was called ClearPoint. I guess I should probably choose a teal color, huh? I don't have an exact teal. That's all right. We'll go with green for now. Okay. Case study number 2 is called the Mycelium Lab. This is a new paradigm model business. Mycelium Lab is a regenerative studio. Regenerative studio. We're going to explain what that means, but let's give the backstory. Okay, so a regenerative studio is started by 3 friends who asked a different kind of question. Okay, their question was, what if we built businesses like forests? What if we built businesses like forests? Mycelium Lab didn't go out and raise capital. Instead, they held a retreat. They used a friend's land. They invited some people. 12 people came, contributing what they could, sliding scale, whatever you can afford to contribute to the retreat. And in this mastermind, they came together, they talked about a vision of what it would look like to build businesses like forests, and together they co created the foundation. They asked that question: what wants to be born through us? They didn't launch based on pressure. They didn't launch based on what can we do that will make us $10 million. Okay, that's the equivalent of, let's get as many trees as possible and cut as much wood as possible while forgetting that the whole point is to make a basketball court so we can play with our friends. Okay, so they didn't ask the wrong question, they asked the right question. What wants to be born through us? How are we going to play with our friends? And so it's a consulting company. It's also a consulting company, Mycelium Lab. They just have a new paradigm model of consulting. So they have a client right now who is building a community food hub. And they're working with this client to help the client design what this community food hub will be as a service, something that the soul is asking to be born, something the field is asking to be born. And so they're working with this client to help them build it. And that client paid them a 50% deposit before the proposal was ever written. Why? Not because they were persuasive. It was because they were resonant in their signal. And in that discovery call that they had with the client, when they started talking about their vision of building businesses like forests, when they introduced themselves as the Mycelium Lab and shared a little bit about their authentic story, their authentic vision for how they want to play in the world and what they see being born through them, just that call alone was the client saying, shut up and take my money. I want to sign now. I'll give you a 50% deposit even before I see a proposal. Okay, so this is another example of how money shows up at the correct part of the equation when we are aligned with the soul calling and the resonant offering. Okay, so that instead of grinding to try to hit revenue target, they came in with their calling and their resonant offering, and the money met them right up front. Money in this model is part of the trust web. It's part of the web of trust. That authentic story, that authentic soul signal creates trust. When you're in your mission, you're in your vision, you're on your path, you are magnetic. People feel it. They can sense your authenticity. And everyone wants to invest in an authentic story. That's just, we're coded for it. It's a soul level blueprint everyone carries. Okay, so what does their equation look like? This is their equation. Money plus soul blueprint, what they came here to do, plus the right relationship, that client who resonated with what they were saying, equals ecosystem activation. Their growth, the growth of Mycelium Lab, it's organic. Their team rests. Their team rests. This team up here, ClearPoint Consulting, there's no rest. One of their founders quit, went off to go find something that suited them better. Their designers burned out. Right? The energy is sagging in that organization. Even if the mechanism that's creating money is technically working, nobody actually wants to do it. It's literally scrambling after the wood and forgetting that the wood is supposed to build the basketball court. But the Mycelium Lab, their growth is organic. They rest. Their community wants them to be funded because their community resonates with the vision. So they have all of the funding they could possibly need waiting for whenever they're ready. So this is an example of teal architecture in motion, not because it's spiritual, but because it's sustainable. That's what makes this an architecture of wholeness. It's sustainable. Okay, so in our last few minutes here, this is our opportunity to reflect. Think about your mission. your brand, your offering, who you are in this world. I would say who you desire to be in this world, but we're not even at that place of desiring to be. It's who we are. We and our desires are one. So let's put no separation there. Let's ask, who are we in this world? Who are we in this world? Thinking about our mission, our brand, our offering, who are we in this world? Where does money live in your equation? Is money at the end waiting to validate you as a reward for how hard you hustle? Or is it at the beginning, stabilizing your resonance? Or is it not in the equation at all right now? All right, coming back to the chat here, I do want you to reflect on the question I just asked, and feel free to share in the chat how you're feeling about this idea of the equation of money. Marcio is saying, I love that idea of building businesses like forests. Could you elaborate on that a bit more? Yeah, so it's a fascinating part of the case study. So it's this idea of building businesses that support the ecosystem. So if you think about a forest lives in balance. It shares resources. It has a common objective of maximizing life. Okay, so building businesses with a common objective of maximizing life. That's kind of a broad way of saying it. But what? So let's make it more personal. So it's like when I think about building my business like a forest, it's like, okay, what is the canopy? What is the forest floor? What is the environment? What is it asking for? What does it need? How can I align and be a natural part of the growth story of the life force energy of this jungle? Could probably go a lot more into that in a later call because at the root of that, building businesses like forests, that's the regenerative philosophy. Okay, so part of teal organizations is a regenerative philosophy. So that will be an upcoming topic for one of our leadership calls. We're going to talk about what a regenerative philosophy is. Okay, so Joseph answered that question. He says, you just need the seeds, the fertile ground, water, and light, and the trees grow by themselves. I love that. Yes, exactly. Ariel says, recommend the show Home on Apple TV for those who haven't seen it. Lots of teal vibes and inspiration in the documentary. Beautiful. You don't need to build the business, Joseph says. It just grows. It's part of the forest. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea. You're allowing it to grow. You're feeding the soul of your work by aligning with it, and then you're letting that energy do the building. Okay, so the plants, the plants don't build themselves. The plants respond to the environment, the fertile ground, the seeds, the water, the sunlight, and the plants just express naturally. And they go through the full cycle. They sprout their stems and their leaves, and then they, maybe they flower, maybe they bear fruit, give their offspring back to the earth, and then on the cycle goes. And it's a similar idea for regenerative businesses. Okay. So Marcio says, honestly, right now, money is after the equal sign for me. Yes. So that's a common place a lot of us find ourselves in. And that's why we're having this conversation, because it's an opportunity to reframe and shift the morphic field that we're tuned into. Okay. Because money lives in both of these places, but it's up to us as authors to choose what that thread of currency is going to represent in our stories that we're writing in our lives. Okay, so the old paradigm of money, the old story about money, the old thread of narrative in the story of our lives would be that money is something that's hard to get. And that's why it's after the equal sign, because I have to put a whole bunch of effort up front in order to reap it at the end. And in the new paradigm, the teal model, it's a different morphic field. Now money is something that responds to me as the author. It aligns with me. It's an ally. It's my friend. It's my co-conspirator in a positive sense. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100% There's this Neville quote that is beeping in my mind right now. This Neville quote about money, and he says, I'm going to see if I can, here it is. Hey, look at that. Okay, it's definitely meant for this call. This is what he says. When people ask me about success, I must say that I believe my success is because I have never made making money my goal. My goal is the wise, productive use of money. This man's inner conversations are based on the premise that he already has money. His constant inner question, the proper use of it. The inner conversations of the man struggling to get money only prove his lack of money. In his ignorance of the power of the word, he is building barriers in the way of the attainment of his goal. He has his eye on the competition rather than on the goal itself. Ariel says, my fascia loves and understands the new equation. However, I find that sometimes I need to retrain my being to interpret other resources that aren't cash as true gifts and abundance, as I continue to stabilize my morphic field and normalize that. Joseph shares, mentally, money is on the left side of the equation. I know it will shift to the left in the real world sooner or later. It's inevitable. Marcio says, absolutely, I can see where I have inherited. Ooh, great call out. Yes, I have inherited a morphic field from my father, who was raised poor and had to work on the streets since he was a child to just have one meal a day. Yes. Ariel says, I did have a time this year where I felt like money met me in the new equation. I wanted to go on a staycation, and I had made the plan without all the cash elements, but my heart was ready and aligned. And then the funds did show up in perfect timing and not at the last minute. It created a solid foundation for the experience to unfold, aligning with the universe for more experiences like that. And in reference to the Neville quote, that's a powerful quote reminding us we are abundant now. The signal is the abundance. I think that's the key idea here. Our soul signal is the abundance, and it can take many forms. So our soul signal shape shifts and then meets us in the 3D once we're aligned with it in the form of connections, meeting the right people at the right time, ideas, having the right book fall in our lap at the right time, inspiration, getting the right idea landing in our brain at the right time, money, having the right money land in our resources at the right time. You know, it can even just be having the right tool right when you need it. There's this quote from Carrie, my partner's teacher. She's like, it's like an affirmation. It's like, I always have everything I need and my resources are always at hand. At hand, right? Right there. I always have everything I need and it's always right in front of me. It's always right here. And that affirmation, it's like, oh, that's a pretty affirmation, whatever. That affirmation is actually a morphic field. I've learned that because I've sat with this affirmation for years now. Okay. I always have everything I need and my resources are always at hand. So what this is, in a very practical, pragmatic sense, what this has led me to is whenever I'm doing something, anything, literally anything, it could even be like out in the garage and like trying to fix something. And I'm like, shoot, I need something. I need something. It could be a tool. It could be a way to handle, like a way to arrange something. Maybe I'm working on the house, whatever it is. I need something. And instead of like going and looking for it, this affirmation has taught me to just become aware of where I am right now and look right around me. And this morphic field, it's astonishing how often whatever it is I need is literally sitting right there waiting for me to recognize it. It's like the tool is right there. You just have to open your eyes and see it. Or the money's right there. You just have to align with it and then open your hands to receive it. Okay, the idea is right there. You just have to open your mind enough to receive it. The person, you're probably walking past them every day. As you're walking through your life, you just have to become aware. Wait a second, this person, I feel magnetic here. Let me go over and introduce myself and discover what's going on. And now they're the next piece of your narrative, and they're a big contributor to your story. Okay, so it's literally this. It's not just an affirmation; it's a way of being. I always have everything I need, and my resources are always at hand, right here in front of me, within reach of my hand. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the shift. This is money as field technology, and we'll wrap on this. Here's the real shift. Money isn't just currency. It is a technology of the field. Money is a technology of the field. It is intelligent. It is a morphic field technology. When you place it at the end of your process, it becomes a test you keep trying to pass. Oof, I felt that one. Wow. But when you bring it into the resonance field early, openly, reverently, now it becomes part of your magnetism, your stability. In the teal organization way of thinking, money is not hunted. Okay, so this is something I've had to learn over many years in my trading in the financial markets. I used to go hunt for trades. I used to go looking for money. I don't anymore. And when I shifted from that morphic field of hunting for money, I shifted to a new morphic field, which is closer to trapping. Now, when I'm looking at charts, I look at where I want to engage with an asset, and then I wait for it to come to me. I harmonize with the money. I don't hunt it, I harmonize. And this has completely changed my trading. It's completely changed the whole morphic field around my wealth frequency. And you know what else it's done? Removed the stress. Okay, because when you're hunting for money, that's how you go gray really fast, right? The stress of hunting for money. But when you're harmonizing with money, there's this ease, this grace, this flow. I believe with every cell of my being, this is how we are made to live. This is how we were made to live, in harmony, not hunting, in harmony. In the teal organization model, you're not getting paid for your offering. You're getting entrusted as the offering. Okay, it's not extracting, right? You're not getting extracted for money. You are being entrusted with the money. Hold on. You are getting entrusted as the offering, and the money is the symbol of the trust that you are the offering. Okay, so that another way of saying that is you are the soul signal, you are the offering, and then the money is aligning with that soul signal. Okay, so this is the integration section. So in the integration, you need to write your new equation. You need to write your new equation, and I invite you to put it in the chat. And a lot of them may mirror each other, and that's fine. The whole point is for you to practice writing it. What is your new equation? Where does money live in harmony with your calling? What's at the right side of the equation after the equal sign? Because it's no longer money. So what is it going to be? This can be weird. It can be poetic. It can be nonlinear. You can even do it in glyphs, right? I know Ariel's loving that. You can even do it in glyphs if you don't know what the words are yet. You can just draw symbols. Okay, but the bottom line is you're taking money out of the right side of the equation, you're putting it where it belongs in the left side of the equation. Doesn't have to look exactly like a math problem, it can look like a map, but you need to draw it. Okay, so final thoughts for me, then I'll look at the chat and then we're done. Closing seed. We're not here to earn money through effort. No mystic chose a physical human incarnation and said, the purpose of this incarnation, this human lifetime, is I'm going to earn money through effort. Not one of us came here saying that. Instead, we are here to magnetize money through coherence. That's what we're here to do. This is not just a financial model. This is an authorship model. You're not at the mercy of money. When it's on the right side of the equation, you are at the mercy of money, but not anymore. When you put it in the correct place in the equation, you are not at the mercy of money. You are designing the system where money can trust you. And so my final affirmation here is, may we all walk as resonance fields that money recognizes. Not because we chased it, but because we became undeniable. May we all walk as resonance fields that money recognizes. Not because we chased it, but because we became undeniable. In the chat, money is a morphic field technology. When you bring it into the field with reverence, it becomes your stability. In the teal organization, you don't hunt for money, you harmonize with it. And when you place it at the end of the equation, it becomes a test you're trying to pass. But when you place it at the beginning of the equation, it becomes something you are harmonized with. Okay, so Early's asking, what's a good way to harmonize with money? Okay, so there's a couple things that you can do. One is you can become aware of how abundant it is. It's everywhere. Okay, I don't know where you are in the world, Early, but I'll say from my personal experience, when I drive around my town, I see money everywhere. I see roofs getting repaired. I see siding getting repaired. I see sidewalks getting redone by the city. I see roads getting repaved. I see workers working. I see businesses thriving. I see servers serving, cooks cooking, patrons dining. I see, car dealerships selling cars. I see Land Rovers driving around, Mercedes, Fords, Volvos. Right? Like it's everywhere. It is everywhere. So the first step of really starting to harmonize with money is starting to realize how abundant it is. There are trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in the world. And that's just talking dollars. We start talking about all currencies, there's quadrillions. Okay. So the question then, when you start thinking this way, Early, is not how do I get money? The question is, what am I doing to block the money? And how can I stop doing that? You got to flip that on its head, right? It's not how can I get money? It's wow, there's quadrillions. What am I doing to block it? Right? Become aware of what you're doing to block it. And it's usually self-talk and a scarcity mindset. So the first step of graduating out of a scarcity mindset is to start to see money everywhere. I see some models, some equations coming in. Money plus family plus love equals fun plus love plus purpose plus coherence. Awesome. How am I blocking it? Mic drop again. Yes. Soul blueprint plus resonant creations plus coherent signal plus receiving mode plus money equals overflowing abundance, impact, and sacred ease. Kathy says, this is so helpful. Thank you, Josiah. I appreciate you all being here with me for this visionary leadership call. I look forward to our next one next week. And next week, we have a special pilot call of Dream Logic, which is a radio hour that we are piloting with Shweta. That'll take place after the Visionary Leadership Call next Friday. So next Friday, we have 2 radio hours. It'll end up being from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'd love to see you all on there live for the pilot of that. It's a pilot, right? So we're going to test out the concept, see how it resonates. And if you're able to catch it live, that just really helps the field to grow. Happy Friday, everyone. Have an awesome weekend. Keep that pen in your hand, my friends. And as always, imagine wisely. And I'll see you all in the next.